Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first Bloomburrow draft on the channel. Gonna do as best a job I can to point out all the cards in the early parts of the pack that are interesting, good, talk about my thoughts about the format. We'll start with our rare, Helga Skittish Seer. Pretty solid card if you can cast it, but is a 3-color card. Not overtly powerful, so probably not going to take that one. Brambleguard Veteran, pretty solid, 3 mana, 3/4, that when you expend 4, your raccoons get pumped. Probably going to highlight this Bushy Bodyguard here. In a lot of games, it's going to be a 4 mana 4/3 plus a 3/3. Really good, one of the better Offspring cards, and one of the better Forge cards too. Burrowguard Mentor, I like green-white quite a bit. Saver, good removal spell. And some good green commons down here too. Green's been one of my more preferred colors. I think it's probably top 2 colors in the set. I like green, I like black. I haven't had a ton of experience with red, to be honest, but I think all the colors are pretty balanced in this set. I don't think there's some gigantic, like, you know, this color is way, way, way worse than anything else. Blue, which might be the worst color, I still think is pretty good. Anyways, we're going to follow up the first Bushy Bodyguard with a second Bushy Bodyguard. Pack also has some pretty good stuff. Rabid Gnaw, good removal spell, kind of like a bite spell for red. And good for triggering your Valiant cards, but also just a good spell. Sunshower Druid. Looks a little bit small ball, but it's basically a 1 mana 1/3 that gains you a life. A little bit better than that. And of course, the joke here is that you blink it with your frogs and start putting a bunch of counters on a bunch of stuff, gaining life. But happy to follow up the Bodyguard with the Bodyguard. Really looking for self-mill at this point, or food cards to be able to enable them. But yeah, I think those are the most interesting cards in this pack. Teapot Slinger, kind of an okay card. Thornplay Intimidator, also a solid one. Stocking the Pantry, a card that you can make work in some decks, and we do have 2 +1/+1 counter cards already, but I think more a card you kind of want to get a little bit later, rather than take it and build around. Okay, now we've got Wix Patrol, and Wix Patrol is great. 6 mana, 5/3, EDB, mill 3 cards, and something gets smaller, -X, where X is the greatest mana value among cards in your graveyard. So I'm going to highlight that one. Persistent Merch Stalker, also really good. 2 mana, 3/1. Gets bigger for your rats, and if you have Threshold, which is 7 cards in your yard, you can bring it back to 3 mana when you attack. So pretty good too. Longstock Brawl, a good removal spell. It's, the gift mechanic is a little bit finicky, trying to figure out when you should gift, when you shouldn't. I think that a lot of the time your gift cards are going to be, once you see them in game, you kind of know when you should or shouldn't. And I found Longstock Brawl to be fine. Giving them a tapped fish is often well worth the mana advantage you get of killing like a 4 mana card and getting a counter on your card. But definitely going to take Patrol. I think it's just the best card here, and plays pretty well with the Bodyguards, too. Just filling the graveyard. A little bit later, of course, but that's okay. All right, so now what do? We could just take Tree Guard Duo. And I've actually liked Tree Guard Duo. Looks a little bit unassuming, but it's got 2 card types, 2 creature types, Frog and Rabbit, which, is good just for flexibility. And that +X of Vigilance often is a really, really big pump. Not going to take it when there's like a Saver in the pack. Saver is good. -2, make a food. And plays well with the Bodyguards, of course, for foraging. Also, Patchwork Banner, I found to be pretty okay. But yeah, just going to take a nice little Saver. Now we get a pack with not much I really love. I like Warren Elder. This card's really good in the Go Wide decks. Playful Shove, just fine. Deal damage, draw a card. I get Assault, I think, is worse than Playful Shove, although neither of these cards I'm that enthused about. The red removal in this set is not amazing, which is kind of a bit atypical. Usually the red removal is really good. The black removal is good, and white removal is pretty good in the set too, with like Banishing Light at common. But red doesn't get like a shock or anything, unfortunately. I think I'm probably going to just take what I think is the best card in the pack, this Warren Elder. Maybe we end up in like a green-white deck. So certainly could do that, right? With the 2 Bodyguards, nothing wrong with that. There's another Saver here, probably just going to lock that in. I've liked Heap Harvest a decent amount. It's pretty good. Another pretty good card if you've got foraging cards. Be able to go this into like the 4 mana 2/4 reach that when you forage, you draw a card. So like you ramp on 3, cast the 4-drop, sack this, ramp again, draw a card. Pretty good. Also a Moonstone Harbinger for the Bat deck. Pretty solid payoff too, but not going to turn down a good flexible card. The card I was talking about, by the way, this one, the Treetop Sentries. But we've got some good options in this pack. We've got Bark Knuckle Brawler. It's going to be a good 2-drop in pretty much any deck. But I think I'm going to take this Bone Cache Overseer. We've already got 2 food cards, 2 scavenge cards, and it's a pretty good card. You need to enable it, of course, but it's a good card when you get there. All right, this pack we've got a Mudflat Village, and these ones are fine. I'm going to actually take it, I think, with some Self-Mill, and Wix Patrol is a really good thing to get back. Longstock Brawl, like I called that out before. Solid card, but I do think now that we have a lot of black cards, I'd rather take another black card rather than another green card. We've also already got a good amount of interaction. I will say that I found in my early drafts, I do really want removal. There's not like a ton of Busto bombs running around. Ooh, Mentor wheels, but probably gonna take this Sentinel. But I do think that breaking up synergies, like even just like killing this Elder, or against the go wide deck, or killing the Overseer against a deck that's really going off with it, it has felt really important. Like the games I have lost early on in this format have been from the opponents assembling 2-card or 3-card creature type matter synergies. So being able to break those up, or of course just not falling behind, has been good. So I think you want to aim for like 4 or 5 removal spells generally, and that's kind of my early take. I've only drafted 5-6 times so far, but my decks with a lot of removal have been a lot better than my decks without, which kind of sounds obvious, but has been the case. Some formats you don't need as much removal. I think this one is one that I do prioritize removal spells. Some cards that we picked up pretty late here that we should talk about. The Sentinel. This card's been quite good. Being able to pick up good enter the battlefield effects. You can like reset your land if you are missing your land drop. So say on turn 4, you only have 4 lands, didn't play your land. Play this, pick up a land, replay the land, play a 2-drop or something. The Druid, we talked about that a little bit. And the other card, the Mistalker also builds. So we're not doing a rat deck necessarily just yet, but a card I could play. Okay, this pack we've got Hivespine Wolverine. I think I'm just going to take this as a good card, generically good card. Nothing wrong with it. No relevant creature type, but currently our deck doesn't even care that much about creature types. And that's something I think you're going to find a lot, is that your black-green squirrel decks or your white-green rabbit decks, they're mostly like doing a secondary thing. They're not like, okay, you gotta have all the rabbits or all the squirrels. It's more like you want to be foraging. You want to be going wide. And so this isn't the kind of creature type matter set where if you've got a few non-squirrels in your black-green deck, you're doing something terribly wrong. I don't think it's like that at all. You're going to have some decks where you do have really good payoffs for like when you have this many squirrels, or, good example here, when you have Phineas, Ace Archer, really good rare that we're not going to take. We're going to take this Baker's Bane's duo. But this is the kind of card that might make you prioritize rabbits a little bit more. But most green-white decks aren't going to be like, man, you don't have 12, 13 rabbits. What are you doing? I haven't found that to be the case. Gonna take Baker's Bane Duo, though. Card is really strong, both just in general, but also when you are foraging. Just 2/2, makes a food, is a squirrel raccoon, another one of those duo multiple creature types matters, which matters some amount of the time. There's a Lunar Convocation, which is a okay rare. I don't think it's an amazing rare or anything. Corpseberry Cultivator is probably what I do take. Peerless Recycling is a card I found to be okay. It's not fantastic. One of the lesser gift cards in general. Giving your opponent a random card is only going to be good when you know for sure you're getting back something amazing. And I don't think we have anything amazing just yet. So happy to just take the card that cares about foraging. All right, gonna take a Treetop Sentries here, our first one of this, but a pretty good card in these decks. Also Starscape Cleric. I like this card. It's mostly for black-white, but it can do fine things in the black-green decks too when you've got a bunch of food. The not blocking on that is a little bit awkward, but your black-green decks are generally pretty good at blocking on the ground. Not a huge deal all the time. All right, now we're gonna take Ahead of the Homestead. There was actually one in the previous pack that I could have taken too, or the 2 packs ago. Just a generically good card, at its best, of course, in the green-white decks. But this is one of the few hybrid cards that I'm really happy to play in any green and or white deck, where some of them you really want to be exactly 2 colors, especially the ones that are cheaper. Because something like the Forager, for example, the Cultivator, Corpseberry Cultivator, if you can't cast this on turn 3, and especially if you're not foraging, it's not going to be that good. If you have a double pipped card, basically, and it's cheap, it's not going to be as easy to cast in your non-exactly black-green deck. So I'm really cautious about that. Okay, so there's a Zora line, which cares about bats, and we're not really doing that. So here's another thing, a lot of the rares care about the creature type. So that's, when you have good rares, I think that's when you're going to lean to creature types a little bit more. We've got this Marstalker, and this is good with any self-mill we have, which we don't have much right now, but we could pick up some. And I think I'm just going to take this Polywallop. Polywallop, we've got a few frogs, but even when you don't have any frogs, like say this actually costs 4, I found it to be okay. Not an amazing removal spell, but an okay one. And like I mentioned, I do want a good handful of removal. And just padding out that count is something I'm happy to do here. Gonna take a Heaped Harvest now. Again, plays nicely with the Sentries, or with like the Bodyguard here. One of the cards I would really like to see going into the next pack, I'll take a Ruthless Negotiation, another one that's not bad to mill over, is Cash Grab. That's the 2-mana green instant that mills 4 cards. You can return a permanent for those 4, and if you control a squirrel, or you return a squirrel, you get to make a food token. Card's very, very good. Exactly what these decks want. Okay, just picking up some some stuff at the end of the pack here. Nothing too exciting. There is a non-zero chance I play this card if we dive a little deeper into self-mill and pick up some incidental fixing. I don't think it's likely, but non-zero chance. More likely than the other cards. Okay, what do we see here? We see another Saver. And then this kind of card, just like a -2/-2, does have diminishing returns at some point, right? You're not going to have infinite targets for this. I think I still take it out of this pack. The other thing I could take out of this pack is a Boxer, and we're not overloaded on 2s, so I'm kind of into that. But maybe I just want the Sentries number 2, like just a little more grind. Yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah, pretty close. Am I taking Sentries over Saber 3 though? Like that's the comparison that I have to make. All right, I'm going to go with the uncommon. Down to the buzzer there. I think any of those 3 would be pretty good. Ooh, nice. Look, another bodyguard. One thing, too, to consider is that when you're foraging, your threshold cards get a lot worse. So I said I might play this Tidecaller Mentor. But the more foraging cards I pick up, the less likely that gets. So, yeah, we're going to take another Bushy Bodyguard. I like Fountain Port Bell, by the way. It's basically... You can just replace a land with this, I think. And be pretty happy with it. It's a land that cycles in the late game, which is really, really nice. So if I was just handed one of these at the end of every draft and I didn't have one already, I would probably play it in every single deck. And I could see playing 2. I'm not exactly sure where I land just yet on that. But I don't think it's wild to imagine myself wanting to play 2, especially because it's another card that goes to the yard for foraging. Oh, okay. And we got a good rare here, too. A Steomancer Adept. So this is a 2-mana 2/2 Death Touch. You can cast creatures from your grave by foraging. When you tap it that turn. So, really nice one. Another Bone Cache Overseer. Probably not going to take that one. Daggerfang Duo. This is actually a card I would be happy to play too. Just a little more self-mill. I mentioned the Trueguard Duo, but we're not really going super wide and pumping the team. We're more just kind of going to grind out the opponents here. Oh, another pretty good one. Cruel Claw's Heist. So, it's a bit of a weird one to evaluate. It's black for a sorcery that looks at their hand and takes something. But if you gift it, they draw a card first, and then you get to take the best thing and then cast that card at a later date. Like, this is one of the gift cards I think you're more likely to gift than not. I mean, I think you're almost always going to gift a card, actually, because if they happen to draw something really good, you're just going to be able to take that. So we're going to take this pretty happily. Some other cards I wouldn't mind here, but yeah, I do like Cruel Claw's Heist a lot. All right, another Wolverine. Could nab that. Could also nab the Daggerfang Duo, and that might be the better pick here. Just with all these bodyguards, wanting self-mill. I think the Wolverine's probably just enough better as a card that I will take that. But I would be happy with some more self-mill. Okay, gonna take an Uncharted Haven here, just as a fixing land over a Sentries, I think. Again, with all these bodyguards, I'm less enthused about additional foraging cards. They're gonna kind of eat up our forage material, and they're like the best thing to forage in our deck, so let's just take that Haven. We see a bunch of cards that I'm not that excited to play. Pawn Prophet, good, but less good if you don't have the ability to cast it on 2 a lot of the time. Like, this is what I was talking about with the cheap hybrid cards, where if the earliest you can cast this card is turn 4 or 3, it loses a lot of its effectiveness. So we'll just take a Moonrise Cleric. Probably not going to take it, but most likely card to make our deck. Sentinel Wheels, so that's kind of nice. Another Frog for Polywallop. Another thing to pick up. Our good ETB creatures, like our Boxer, our Druid. I like Glide Dive Duo as well, but I think Sentinel is just going to be slightly better here. All right, now what? We've got a Sinister Monolith, kind of whatever. Peerless Recycling, kind of whatever. Yeah, probably likely to play the Recycling more than the other cards, but I don't think I'm playing too much here. Okay, so that's basically our deck. Oh, the Duofang Wield, so a little bit of a nice pickup there, but that's basically our deck. Nothing too exciting, too special, but I think pretty solid overall. We've got a bunch of pretty good uncommons. Okay, so as far as cuts go, I think I'm going to cut this Ruthless Negotiation. I only really like this card if I have a lot of self-mill going on, because, you know, casting it for the 1 mana is not great. I could see cutting Sunshower Druid, but I think that it's probably going to pull its weight with double Sentinel and the Polywallop. Maybe this Stormplate Intimidator can go. I think this card's okay, but yeah, let's just cut this Intimidator. Okay. Yeah, let's give this for a spin, see how it goes. Also didn't pick up any of those cash grabs, unfortunately. I didn't see them. So, I think that's a card that people are going to underrate a little bit early on. And at least in my early drafts, I've gotten them really, really late. It's a card that might not be obviously good to a lot of people. So if you're looking to get an edge the first few days of the format, before the 17 lands data comes out. I think that's a pretty good one to get an edge on. Opponent plays a 3-tree Root Weaver. Okay, just a 1/3 that taps for a mana of any color. We draw our Head of the Homestead. Let's just play our Cultivator here. Could also play the Duo. Yeah, I guess that's slightly better because I'm not going to be foraging this turn, and Duo attacks a little bit better. I will take that action. Mill 2 lands. Would like that, but that's okay. Lily Splash Mentor. Okay, yeah, I will just be killing this thing. This is the 4-mana 4/4. Pay 3 mana to blink something. That is a card that I don't want to stick around, so we shall kill it. You get in. Tap blue source. All right, so there's a Splish Splashy deck, kind of being Sultai. And Sultai is, I think, mostly you're going to be 2-color decks in this format, but ooh, that's another really good one. Yeah, I think you're mostly going to just be playing 2-color decks in this format, but I also think that if you are splashing, it's likely you're splashing in Sultai, where both black, green, and blue, black care about the graveyard. Okay, so this is Dream Do Enchanter. Really strong card, too. This is 4-mana 3/4 reach. When ETBs, you can tap something, gets 3 stun counters, and if you tap the thing you control, you draw 2 cards. And the thing about this, of course, is it's really good to blink, and you can blink the thing or pick up the thing that you put stun counters on your own thing, draw cards, be able to maybe play it on a future turn. Okay, gonna play this Wolverine, I think, instead of the Head of the Homestead, just because it attacks through this. So we'll just make this a large creature. Thorn, play Intimidator. So this is the comes in. I either lose 3, sack a non-land, or discard a card. We'll just lose 3. We don't really care about our life total that much right now. Okay, cool. So am I going to be foraging right now? I don't think so. I think we just get in with this Wolverine and play Head of the Homestead. If they want to double block, great. We get to Savor. I doubt they double block, though. Oh, they do. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, they don't. I guess if they double block with the Entrancer and the Intimidator, I wouldn't actually get to use Savor to save my creature. Because they still have 7 power. All right, they play a Mudflat Village, which returns something from the yard, so they could buy back their Mentor and not quite play it this turn. Ooh, X Patrol. Okay. So -4 to something, maybe more? Yeah, just -4. So they're going to kill maybe my Duo? Again, this is ETB's Mills 3. When you do target creature and opponent controls, gets -X until end of turn, where X is the greatest mana value amongst cards in your grave. Marstalker. Okay. So now if we attack, they just block with the Wix Patrol. And we can Savor, and then they rebuy it at some point. That's not too bad. Yeah, I think I like pressuring here. It's not like the Saver is doing that much otherwise. They might also go for the triple block or the double block. I could see that happening. Yeah, that makes sense. So if that's the case, I just killed the 2 3-toughness creatures. That's a fine deal for me. Yep. Let's play Marstalker. Play this. They can buy back one of these things now, but I've got quite a bit of power and toughness on board. Takes them some time and mana to be able to do that. Ooh, that's a nasty one. So 6/6 Death Touch Menace. Cheaper for each card in their grave. Or each creature card in their grave. And yeah, another pretty good one. Curious Forager. They can forage when it enters and it rebuys something. So sort of like an Eternal Witness. Yeah, really good turn for them. So now I probably kill this Forager, get in with the Duo, and I think they're probably not that sad to trade with the Entrancer. But I think it's also fine to do that. Yeah, they get back Wix Patrol. Okay, we draw a land. Yeah, so I think we just kill this thing. We forage with the Cultivator, start growing that. Sack the food. And yeah, let's get in with this rat. They might just Wix Patrol kill the Cultivator, but that means they're not killing the Death Toucher, or if they trade here and then kill the Death Toucher, that's fine too. Alright, yeah, well, good. Okay, the Mill Bunch. Oh, there's that cash grab I can finally show you. The card I was talking about. Oh, by the way, weird bug where you can't look at your opponent's graveyard if you don't have priority. I assume they will fix that soon, but who knows? Yeah, there's the card, cash grab. Mill 4, return a permanent card from among them to your hand. And if you control a squirrel, you make a food. Okay, we're just gonna take this, I think. I can't take it for too long, but if I double block, then these things can start to get in. So we're just gonna take it for now and see what we draw. Baker's Bane Duo. Okay, not too bad. Again, I'm gonna grow this Cultivator. Probably gonna use cards in my graveyard this time, because my life total is under a little bit of pressure. Pass the turn. They can rebuy something this turn and play it if they want. Ooh, Sticky Tongue Sentinel. So this probably picks up the Entrancer to lock something down. Duo. All right, they're gonna, yep, make a really nasty attacker. All right, we're just gonna sack food. Go to 3. Yeah, we just have to take this. Then, unfortunately, have to trade next turn. We draw our own Sentinel. That's not a bad one. So we pick up the Duo, make a food, have a little bit more life. We're gassing out a little bit. Our deck is admittedly a little short on grindy things. Like, we've got Adept and Overseer, but not too much past that. All right, and am I going to be foraging here? It doesn't make my blocks that much better. It means that the Wix Patrol can't get in, and they're likely just going to cast and transfer on my Cultivator anyways. I think I still do to kind of force them to do it, but it's not great here. Of course, the thought is I want to save this for my multiple. Where are they? The Bushy Bodyguards, yeah. Ooh. Oh no. For a second I was like, wait, no, this doesn't work. It does work though. Yeah, okay, that's probably, well, it's not too bad. That means that this thing can't attack that well this turn. Okay. Obviously not great for me. But we get to go to 6. They attack. They might not attack this turn with too much. Okay, they attack with everything. Does that mean I'm just dead and I haven't counted right? Maybe. No, it doesn't mean that, but I am in chump block mode here. I get to kill this. Okay, we aren't in a great spot, but we could draw something pretty good. Like, if we draw the Bushy Bodyguard now, that's a pretty good draw. It does keep us alive. This one doesn't, though. Oh, sorry. No, I forgot this wasn't untapping, so it doesn't keep us alive. All right, fair enough. GG. All right, this hand is pretty good. Need like some forage enablers here. But yeah, some of our better cards. Oh, nice. Okay, so now that we've drawn Sentinel, there's some thought to not running a Druid. And then going like Adept, Druid the Adept, play something else if I draw a 2-drop. But I think it's probably just fine to play this out. Maybe it blocks something, maybe it gets in for a few points. The thought being if I pick this up, I lose, quote unquote, lose the counter. That could go somewhere else, but again, I think that's kind of okay. All right, play our Adept. I was playing blue-white birds, potentially. Again, this is 2/2 Death Touch that when you can tap it to cast creatures out of your grave by foraging them. Foraging in addition to paying their costs. Okay, pick up this Druid. Opponent misses a land, so Let's see. They play a mountain. Interesting. Harvester of Storms. This is a 1/4 that whenever they cast a non-creature spell, they can exile the top card of their library to cast it. Okay. Cast into the end of turn. We gotta get attack though still, and for 6. Head of the Homestead, good draw too. Heartfire Hero. 1/1 Valiant. Whenever they target, they put a counter on it. And when it dies, deals damage to each opponent equal to its power. Okay, so I could just bash with both here. I don't mind losing my Adept in combat if that's what happens here. Getting cards in the graveyard is good for my Bodyguard. Kind of an odd block. Okay, they're just trading with it. That's totally fine. Yep, and then we cast Head of the Homestead. They're at 6. Cast a Bark Form Harvester. Okay, so this is just a 2/3 reach changeling that can put cards from their graveyard on the bottom of their library. So nothing too pressing. Okay, so let's just get in with the things that can attack. I imagine the Head of the Homestead gets traded off here. Okay. Or that's, yeah, fine for me too. They could have Shore Up, which either eats the Head of the Homestead or saves one of their creatures here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, play the Murkstalker. And also get to play this Bodyguard. As one of them being a 4/3, one of the tokens being a 1/1, but that's okay. Pearl of Wisdom, draw 2. Ooh, they had a Storm Splitter. That's a cool card. Not a particularly good one, I think, but a cool one. And that's probably bad news for them that they, yeah, if they're spending their turn drawing cards, that's not great. All right, cool. Won that one. All right, and yeah, it's a fine hand. We've got our colors. We've got a removal spell. Got the Druid kind of just chilling. Yeah, just a note on these lands. I think I talked a little bit about them in the draft, but I think that you always want to play one generally, unless your deck has an abnormally low creature count, which is pretty hard in this format. All the decks are pretty creature based. But the second one does, I think, get a little bit awkward. Just not being able to double spell if you've got like a removal spell on a black card, or like a double black card or something. Sorry, that's not exactly true. You can double spell with a creature and a removal spell, but like 2 non-creatures, for example, sometimes it's awkward. So yeah, I do like them. They give you a little bit of nice late game value, but I don't prioritize them very highly. I generally want to take them like on the wheel. Maybe if my deck is really good in pack 3, I'm like, okay, I'm happy to take one early over a spell. But not hugely important or anything. All right, so let's get in and I think just savor this thing in combat. Play our Boxer. Yep, you just take it, totally fine. Select the player Boxer. Pass turn. This is a 3/3, effectively Vigilance or give something else Vigilance, but it also triggers. Of course, the red-white Valiant cards is kind of the idea. Speaking of which, there's one now. It's a 3/4 that whenever you Valiant it gets +1/+0 and first strike. All right, so and scry 1, so they get to scry 1 here. Kind of nice for them. I think this is probably good enough to just block and savor. Use my mana on this turn. If I draw the green source, it gives me a really good attack coming up, and if I don't, it's still not that bad. Or Polywallop, yeah, great. Works very, very nicely. All right, get in for 7. Nothing. What's going on here? Is this the Swan, maybe? There's like the flash flying thing. Kind of the Restoration Angel variant. I think if it is, I don't mind them eating my Sun Shower Druid. Ah, okay. Trapper. Sure, okay. So same thing. They get to eat my Sun Shower Druid, but not the end of the world. They go to 2. If I didn't attack with the Druid, they probably trade. So I still like the attack. Like, even if the Trapper was face up, I would have made that attack. Not being able to play the Wolverine that turn is annoying. Probably would have locked the game if we could have, but it's all good. Okay, well, they didn't have that much going on anyways, so let's see what we got there. Okay, a hand that I do not think I'm going to keep here. No green mana. I've got, what, 9 sources of green? And we're on the draw. It's tempting, especially with Duo into Sentinel into Bodyguard. Also have quite a few black cards. So basically green cards are bad draws. But it is a really good curve. Yeah, green cards and swamps are bad draws. I think it's just slightly not good enough. Maybe if the hand was like ever so slightly better too. Like it's a good hand, but not a busted hand. All right, let's play back the 5-drop here. I want the removal spell, the card advantage card, and the card that enables my card advantage card. I guess Saver does that too, but Duo is also just good to have as a cheap creature. Okay, Sentinel, pretty good draw. So they play something savorable. They do play something savorable. Nice. And I imagine they mill. Yep, they mill Glarb. 2/4 Death Touch that they can cast some cards off the top of their library. Okay, so we'll just savor this thing. And cast our Duo. Uncharted Haven, fine draw. I will also mill. Okay, they play another Duo. Mill some more. So they're blue, black, green. Okay, so let's get in. Don't mind trading these off, especially when I draw the Wolverine here. I want to get the Death Touch off the battlefield. They also miss a land drop, which is obviously pretty good for us. Yep, just trade. Totally fine. Sentries. And I guess I don't have anything that buys things back from the grave, right? No. So I guess it's actually just better to be exiling things. Sorry, that's not true. I've got the Adept. Okay. I was going to say it's just better to exile things from the grave rather than sack food, but with the Adept, I think that's not true. So I will sack the food. Ooh, draw a Bodyguard. Nice. It's pretty nice play next turn. Especially the opponent continues to miss lands. I guess it would have been okay to keep that other hand, but then again, we wouldn't be able to pressure as well if we had done so, unless we did happen to draw the green source. Nothing. Okay. In that case, let's just Wolverine. Put a counter on the sentries. Them passing the turn here kind of indicates that they... I would assume they have a removal spell here. They kind of thought, and then didn't do anything. Could also just be a little tilted that they missed their land. That's always possible. Or also just going to get a sandwich or something. Who knows? All right, they draw a Fountain Port Bell, which is effectively a tapped land that... A double tapped land. That's tap 2 things if they want the blue source this turn, but... I'd imagine they go and hit their land drop, yeah. Okay, so there is the, there's a 5-mana mythic that makes... One of the modes is you can make players sack 1 to 5 different things. And probably worth playing around that here. Oh, sorry, I messed up here, actually. I was going to say worth playing around this here by not playing the Bodyguard. Saving that for if they do have that card. If that was the case, I should have just played the Wolverine to put a counter on something, get in for 1 more point. So, my bad on that front. I hope it doesn't punish us, of course, but if we lose by 1, that's why. Just put it on this thing. Spread out the love a little bit. All right. Opponents have not been doing that much these games. I guess it's day 1. People are still figuring things out, so... slightly anticlimactic game so far, but, you know, hopefully we get some good games in as we win a few more. Okay, yeah, pretty nice hand here. We have our Bonecatch Overseer with our Heaped Harvest. Need a way to forage, of course, but we have quite a few ways to do that. Opponent takes a mulligan. Also, by the way, I don't know, I didn't mention this during deck building or drafting or anything, but I've just, like, really had a lot of fun playing this set so far. I enjoy most Magic sets from day one. You know, it's very rare that I'm like, oh, not feeling the vibe on this one. But something about the set kind of makes me feel pretty good about things. I don't know. Okay, I kill my Overseer, sure, no problem. Play our Marstalker. And Keeper's Talent. All right, it's a good one. Not very good without any creatures, but really strong rare. 2 mana at the beginning of your combat, put a counter on something. Level it up, pay 1. Your things with counters get ward. And 4 mana, level up level 3. The Hardened Scales ability. If you put a counter, or sorry, not even the Hardened Scales ability. It's the branching. There's some card that is like this. Whenever you put counters on something, you put twice as many. It was like a bonus. Oh no, it was a reprint card from Modern Horizons 3. Branching Evolution? Is that right? This card's kind of like that. I tried to shortcut this card, but it made it more confusing. Just read the card. If I didn't explain it well enough, you can just simply read the card right here. We also have this Wolverine to blow it up, thankfully, too. So, tis kind of nice. All right, so we're going to put a counter on this. We still get in with our duo. And actually, okay, they didn't do it. I was going to say, if they did block, I think I would cast Saver there. Okay, so let's cast our Heaped Harvest. Go get another land. Can probably just go get a forest. Play this on black. That's a turn. So they're gonna get a counter, another counter off of this before we get to kill it, unfortunately, but not the end of the world. I'm just gonna level this up, maybe. If they double level it up, it's kind of annoying. Okay, looks like that's not what's happening here. Just a saver. Okay, that's totally okay. Not a big deal. A little annoying that I'll have to use my saver in combat to win against this entry, but not too pressed about that. All right, Wolverine comes down, kills this talent. Bye-bye. Pass turn. Okay, just the land. I think probably a little too risky to just shove here. Try to use the saver in combat, so we'll just chill. No need to rush. Have another saver? The third saver? Yeah, we had the opportunity to have a lot of savers in the draft, so not crazy. You know, day one, people tend to just overlook the good cards because the art doesn't stick out from them. So I've actually been pretty lucky. We haven't faced too many Busto decks on this draft. Day one tends to be full of some pretty nasty stuff and the people that know what they're doing. They've been pausing here for a long time. So they've got a lot of options, or a couple options. I wonder what's going on. Kind of seems like, oh, consumed by greed. Huh. They did not gift a card. So, no, not worth it. There's like a slight part of me, I was like, I could savor my Wolverine and sack my Marstalker, but I think that's pretty bad, so I won't do that. Also, worth thinking about whether or not to sack this. Like, it thins my deck, which is not a huge deal. Oh, geez, that's a problem. This is my deck, which is not a huge deal. And I still have two Forge triggers in my grave. I've got 6 cards now, so I think I do make that call and just sack here. Then the deck. We really need to find some action. A Wix Patrol of our own would be great. Oh, Sentries is good. Okay. It does team up with the Saver to kill one of these things. I guess the Wix Patrol in particular. So exile, exile, draw a card. Find a duo. Okay, yeah. Some action. More food, too. Last turn. By the way, small little thing with like spend. It's, you know, new mechanics might be a little bit unintuitive if you don't read the full rule sets of expend, but expend only counts spells. So food or whatever can't help you get to your expend 4. Okay, there's an attack with a 4/2. I could double block and then savor. I think I will pass on that for now. I'll just take some damage. It's not a huge deal. Oh, Druid's nice. Okay. Now we Druid. Put a counter on the duo and send with the duo. Okay. Now they can attack with the Wix Patrol. Ooh, cash grab. Okay, they hit a Corpseberry Cultivator, which is annoying, but could have been worse. They also did hit another Saber. Funny enough. Again, can't check the grave because of that bug. Can't check either player's grave, by the way. If you don't have priority, you can't check either player's grave. Very, very strange. Okay, I do think I go for killing this Wix Patrol. Oh, they don't cast this pre-combat. I wonder if that's just a mistake or they have something here. I'm going to make the block. Because if they, like, exile my sentry or something, kill this, I'm not that upset about it. Okay, I think they might have just forgotten. Or didn't want to forage, maybe. It's also likely or possible. Okay, so we're slowing down a little bit here. Don't have anything like awesome to grab us back into this game. Oh, stocking the pantry. That's why they waited. Interesting. Interesting. That's an engine. Cultivator plus stocking. Okay. It is spicy. I guess the adept would be pretty good. Casting some cards out of her grave. Yeah, I think stocking the pantry, by the way. I think this card is... I talked a little bit about it in the draft. I think it's fine. Like a fine engine that you do have to do some work to make good. Obviously, you know, at its best in this kind of deck. But like, you know, for example, if they don't have this cultivator, it looks really, really bad. Okay, we just take this. Hopefully we can draw a removal spell here. Or just a large creature. A Wix Patrol would be great. Another Wolverine to kill this stalking would not be unwelcome. Sharpshooter. Okay, just 4/4 reach. Bushy Bodyguard. All right, that's the action we're looking for. So let's do some scavenging. I think I just scavenge a food and 3 cards in the grave. Yep. We'll sack food. So lots of power intelligence on board now. Definitely one of our better draws. And we can also like chump block with the Druid to get a 3rd card in the yard if we draw our last bodyguard. I think I'm going to do that this turn probably. Ah, that's a really good one. Uh-oh. Yikes. Okay, so whenever they crack a food, they get a squirrel, and they can forage to put a counter on each squirrel they control. I think that basically means we just die on the spot almost immediately. A card's very, very good, because what's going to happen here is they, like, make a bunch of squirrels, pump all their squirrels, and I have, like, good blocks for a turn, but then they just have, like, a gigantic board. So I think we need to draw Wix Patrol right now, because that's the only thing that can kill a Camilla, right? Yeah, and even if that's the case, like, even if we do kill Camilla, I think we are in for a tough game. Although, they only have 3 mana, so they can only do that once. But they also have this stocking pantry sitting around that they can draw a bunch of cards with. They also could sacrifice a food for free here to get a free squirrel. Or I guess, you know, from the graveyard, that works too, obviously. Yeah, their deck just looks like a more juiced version of our deck, basically. Drawing a swamp, not ideal. Okay, well, we'll give it a turn or two. But we'll you know, of course, let the new cards kind of play out and show you what they do. But I think we're gonna get crushed pretty soundly here. Yeah, just like infinite card advantage now with Camilla too. So sick. Yeah, this looks like a really good stock in the pantry deck. Like they have quite a few ways to trigger it. I was talking about dodging the busted decks, but I think we found one. Opponent had squirrels be very, very open in their seat, looks like. We don't have... Let's see. Is there anything? No, there's no, like, mill. Like, mill is a way we could kill them, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that before they can just run us over. Yeah, I think any attack this turn would probably make me scoop, so they attack with one thing. That's good enough for me. All right, yeah, nice little hand. 2 into 3 into 4. Especially a food producing 2. Makes my sentries draw a card on turn 4. Okay, facing a Warren Elder. Let's just jam. I doubt they trade with the Elder. Oh, they do. Okay. So maybe it means they've got some good late game cards in hand. I will mill. Milling are a Steomancer and Heap Harvest. Alright. 3-3. Yep. That's a good draw. Let's jam. Trade again? I mean, hypothetically, trades are good for my deck, but again, kind of makes me think they've got something nasty in hand. They're just like, okay, I just want to trade forever and not die. They could be missing a color. That could be true. Okay, that is a pretty good one. So this is a 4-mana 3/4. Then when they target it with a spell or ability, they reveal 5 cards from the library, take a mana value 3 or less card from among them, put it on the battlefield. If it's their turn. If it's not their turn, they don't get to do that. But we just jam. I don't think they're going to block here. We play Head of the Homestead. Next turn we can pick that up if we want. Intrepid Rabbit. Ooh, yeah, that's a really good one. One of the best commons, if not the best common in the set. Just, yeah, phenomenal. Triggers this thing, of course. Not twice, because Valiant's only once per turn. Oh, and they missed with the Valiant, too. Okay, that's good. I'm glad they missed with the Valiant. But yeah, this card is really good. Just 4 mana, make 2 things. They pump your stuff. Okay, so we got a pretty good attack here. At least with the Sentry. Do I want to attack with the Head of the Homestead? I think I do, because I think I'm going to be picking up the Treetop Sentry, not the head, with the Sentinel. Because what we're going to do is pick this up, play this, and then we're going to draw 2 cards, hopefully, next turn. One off this Overseer, one off the Sentry. Okay, found the red. Very scary. Blacksmith's Talent. Yeah, that's a really nice one, too. So this is a kind of a strange card, but 1 mana, make a sword equipment, which, of course, triggers Valiant. And then they can level it up to give something... attach an equipment at the end of the combat for free and level it up again. All your equipped creatures have double strike and haste on your turn. So, yeah, really, really nice one. They also didn't choose to put it into play, which is interesting. Okay, so let's be foraging here. Forward some stuff. Exile. Draw another forge card. Draw another forge card. Okay, so we get in with this for sure. It's definitely a telegraphed attack because it's just indestructible. I doubt that they fall for it, but that's okay. Oh, they're leveling this up, eh? Okay. Yeah, I guess they can target. Yeah, so the way this works, by the way, you can equip to the same thing. Oh, wow. Mabel, too. You can just target the equipment and just equip it to the same thing, even if you don't have another creature, and it does target Valiants. Interesting that they're not putting it on the battlefield. What's going on there? Do they have a field wipe or something? Okay, so now we do just bash all, and then we can Bushy Bodyguard. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Yep, fine. Push some damage. Bodyguard, Offspring. Draw a card. Haven. Alright, pass turn. Yeah, Mabel, by the way, really sicko. All your mice get +1/+1, and you make a really good equipment. That's what's going on here. Okay. Maybe should have sniffed that out, but, like, kind of weird to play this in your red-white aggro deck. Okay, so... yeah, I think we're pretty dead. It's a really nice combo. Alright, yeah, let's just kill this thing. Yeah, double strike haste. Oh, sorry, you don't have haste just yet. So we can bodyguard. It's not the worst, but they've got some really good ones coming. Yeah, forage a bunch. Forage the food. I don't think we have a way to push through this, unfortunately. Especially with Mabel coming down. Yep, now they have double strike. Double strike haste. Then they have trample too. I think we have like a turn to draw Wix Patrol. And Wix Patrol can't even kill the Forerunner anymore. So we have to kill the Mabel. Yikes. Yeah, the opponent's really going off. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we just take this. Pretty sick. Alright, yeah, go to one. I don't think we have an out from this, but... Alright, nice. Alright, GG's. Alright, so, final look at the deck here. Only went 3-3, but, you know, that's okay. We're still learning. It's still just the early drafts of the format. And I think if there's one thing that I would have liked in this deck, it's just a little more actual, like, point-and-click, kill that thing no matter what removal. We had Polywallop, which was pretty good at doing that, but other things were like Saver, which was good at killing the small stuff, obviously. But just lacked... You know, the games we lost were to pretty good rares. And so just upping, you know, I was talking about this during the draft, but just making sure you've got 4-5 removal spells, especially ones that I think are a little more catch-all, is something that I think is pretty important in this format. Break up those synergies, kill those good rares. Again, it's not anything revolutionary, but there are some formats where you can prioritize removal a little bit less, just be like, I'm doing my thing, and that's going to be good enough. And I think interaction is pretty important in this format. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a good time watching. We'll be back soon for another draft video, I'm sure. If you like this, please comment, like, and subscribe. All that stuff that you know how to do to support your favorite content creators. We'll also be having the State of the Format Limited Level Ups podcast episode coming out in a few days to get you updated on all my most recent takes of the formats. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.